Coming to you today from the Southern Legend Outdoors Studio, the Be a Legend podcast. Brought to you from SouthernLegendOutdoors.com. And now your hosts, Kevin Bearfield and Kerry Nelson. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. It's your time now. Be a legend.
Welcome to another episode of the Be a Legend podcast, coming to you today from Pontotoc, Mississippi. Kevin Bearfield here with Kerry Nelson and Ken Butler. How's it going, fellas?
Going good, man. We're glad to be back. Second podcast and opening weekend of college football. Texas A&M's already kicked it off tonight, and we've been sitting around watching that. And one great thing about hunting, and that's one of our prime subjects that we talk about, is eating what we kill and just food and fellowship. And that's one thing about football, the camaraderie, and hunting, the fellowship. And we got to do that. Little blackened salmon Alfredo and grilled chicken Alfredo from the Nelson Outdoor Kitchen. You can't go wrong with that.
No.
Brother, you putting it on us, man.
It's good.
I said when we started this, we cannot impose on you. And now every time we do this podcast, you're making this spread. I mean,
I'm fine with it.
I'm good with it. I mean, it's good.
If we could just get, what a lot of people may not know, we got Ken Butler joining us tonight. Ken's our brother-in-law. Me and Kevin talked about being brother-in-laws last week. Ken is our brother-in-law. And one thing about brother-in-laws is we take trips from time to time, and we got on the last trip talking about sushi. And Kevin, we just can't get Kevin on board yet with the sushi. He has tried sushi for about 3 seconds, and it didn't last. But
no.
So we had salmon tonight, blackened salmon Alfredo.
Fine eating.
And we're glad to be back. This podcast has been listened to by many people. We appreciate your feedbacks.
Yep.
And everybody calling, everybody that's pulled me to the side and said, man, we enjoyed that. We just going to come to you real. And we brought Ken in tonight because he is not only very knowledgeable about hunting, he's a good friend and family to us. And so we'll have Ken join us as much. And I'm going to say, if I cook like I did tonight, Ken will be here regularly.
Pretty regular.
Every week.
Speaking of Ken, he just recently had his daughter graduate from high school, and she is joining the ICC softball team this year.
Yes.
How's the empty nest feel?
It's tough when you have somebody there with, of course, Kerry knows, and you will know.
Yeah.
But it's tough, you those nights come by when you used to getting out in the yard or going to the building to throw and get extra throwing in and hitting. And so anyway, it's different for us, me and my wife. Of course, everybody probably knows Buffy. Yeah. And so it's different, but, you worry about them, but you trust them, you raise them, and you hope you did a good job, right, Kerry?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
And so...
The problem with Ken is, the difference between me is I had 4.
Yeah.
So I worked my way. I still have 1 in the nest,
yes.
Although he's going to be 19. Ken and Buffy have 1. And so it's not like 1 left and you got to fall back on the activities of the other. Yeah. So I do know somewhat what you're going through, and then somewhat I don't. But she's close.
Oh, yeah.
That's one good thing.
A lot of fun days ahead.
Oh, yeah.
We
get to look forward to college softball.
This fall.
We know a little bit about that.
We do.
They kick off this fall, and ICC, they go to Ole Miss and play Ole Miss.
Oh, that'd be fun.
And a doubleheader, they get UNA after that. They go to Mississippi State and play Mississippi State. I think they may play UNA one more time, and Alabama Huntsville.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see, how the team competes and how she competes. And I know she's a she's a competitor and she'll do the best she can. So she may have to miss a little bit of hunting, but she'll make up for it. She's my little deer hunter. She's laid many on the ground, and
Yes,
she's ate a bunch of them too. So
She'll get a long break during Christmas.
That's
to
right.
Come home and do a little hunting, so that'll be.
right. I'll be excited about that.
Yeah.
She will be in the stand with me. So
Well, we want to give a good shout out to Mary Kate and
Right.
wish her the very best.
All right, Mary Kate, you do good at college. That way you don't mess up our hunting. All right?
Yeah,
Don't be
for
in
real.
trouble. I will say
Speaking-
this. I'm sorry. I was
No, go
before
ahead,
we get
go
off
ahead.
Ken, I wanted to say to Ken, I've said this to him privately, and I've said it last week, our last podcast when we were talking about how By His Grace Outdoors got started. One thing about me and Kevin that we found to be true is we think about something instead of just sitting around talking about it, we just do it. And Ken's a lot that way. And with By His Grace Outdoors, when we first started with kids, I had no land to hunt. I had no lease land. I had no private land. I was not in any club. And Ken and his family had some land, and my father-in-law had some land, and they allowed us to bring these kids one opening day of kid weekend. And Brother Mark Newell helped me head that up. Richie's Gun Shop allowed us to come down and film and sight guns,
Yeah.
giving Richie crew a shout out, but I appreciated they opened up there. You remember that, Ken? They opened
Yes,
up there.
yes.
They had their deli going in, and boy, we went down there and ate lunch. Took Ken has let us come on his property and really helped me get started with By His Grace Outdoors in the fact that he let me bring kids and teenagers to come to his property, and Ken and them. Even from then till now, and that's been years ago, just watch how Ken and them, one reason I'm glad he's on the show, because he's got a great knowledge of what we're going to talk about tonight with food
Right.
plots and different things like that. So but I do want to give a shout out. Don't ever forget where you came from, and as many acres as we have now to hunt, and as blessed as we are, we're still so grateful for people like Ken that help us get started. And so we appreciate that. And Ken probably won't say nothing about it, but Ken is the owner and operator of one of the greatest businesses in all of Pontotoc, and MedMart. And I know he probably would never say a word about that, but Ken has a business, but he has a ministry, because the majority of the people that Ken deals with are people that are in need of someone, not only to give them product, but to take care of them and be personable. And so we appreciate it. We love you, man. We glad you're here.
Appreciate you
We
saying that. Thank you.
And we appreciate you being on the podcast with us, and
Thank you for
look
asking.
forward to future opportunities to spend with you. And I echo everything that Kerry said, and especially sharing those opportunities with young people. That's what we're all about.
Yeah.
We're going to spend a lot of time this fall talking about that, and so really,
And that's one of the reasons why all three of us sitting here have seen God bless in our lives, because we haven't been stingy with what He's blessed us with. Ken's no
Right.
different than we are. Just the other day, and he wouldn't say this either, but just the other day, he heard that I was taking some handicapped and disabled people hunting opening weekend of gun season, and he's first, if you need a place to bring, right off the bat.
Yeah.
And that's just the way we know that what we own and operate, what we hunt, we didn't create.
that's right.
God created it.
That's right.
And some of our listeners will know this because I've told them personally, but the reason that they don't have as many deer and turkey on their property is because I've prayed them over to my property. And they get a kick out of that, but I tell them they're too stingy with stuff they didn't create, so I just ask God, put them on our property so a kid can kill them instead of some stingy hunter. So anyway,
That's right.
but I appreciate y'all's heart with this, and we're excited to have this podcast going tonight.
Well, speaking of college, and this weekend is big for a couple of reasons. We'll talk about both. One being opening weekend of what we know in the South is hunting season, with dove hunting season opening this weekend, and it's also the opening weekend of college football. So we sit here tonight. We've got the Texas A&M game going right now.
They're up 7-0.
7-0.
First quarter.
Something we're kind of going to do this year, we're going to go through and make predictions each week on the games. And I guess we've got a little bit of an edge on the Texas A&M game. We weren't able to kick the podcast off early enough because we were too busy stuffing our face with that good Alfredo. But
I'm going to predict they're going to be up 7-0. I'm going to go ahead and predict it.
They just got there.
They just got there.
7-0. So, Kerry, what do you predict this game, how it will end?
Well, I mean, Texas A&M, like several of the SEC West schools, is taking on inferior opponent, and Northwestern State, and they're probably some great kids, and probably had high expectations. But I got a feeling Texas A&M is going to have their way with them, and rightfully so.
Okay.
And so I remember when my son went to Mississippi College, people would say, "Oh, your son's over at the University of Mississippi." I said, "No, not even close, athletic-wise. Thank God that Ole Miss and Mississippi College don't play each other in a game of football." I'm sure Northwestern State will be feeling that after a while. But I say Texas A&M will beat them 40.
Yeah, there's not even a line.
What do you think, Ken?
Oh, yeah. There's not a line on the game, I don't think. So I'm saying 40 plus.
So I guess we all three are going down Texas A&M
Yes.
on this one.
Texas A&M.
The next big game, I guess, for us, we've got that one out of the way because it's already in progress, but we have to talk about Ole Miss. All three of us are Ole Miss fans. We might as well go ahead and establish that. I don't think it will be that difficult for our listeners to figure that out after a few weeks.
No.
Right.
But Ole Miss opens up. Pretty big weekend. They're traveling to Houston to take on Texas Tech. Big game. Should be a lot of offense. What do you think?
Well, Texas Tech's -2.5. It's going to be, of course, a neutral site, but it's in Houston, so I'm going to say Ole Miss will have probably 25,000 there with the Texas alumni there. So I'm pretty sure Ole Miss will come out 7 points ahead in this game. So I'm going to pick Ole Miss.
All right, Ken's picking Ole Miss. Kevin, what you picking?
Ole Miss all the way.
Ole Miss. Well, my thing about it's, I just feel like neither teams. I feel like if both teams put their defense together, they might have a defense, you know. And so it's going to be, it's going to be a shootout. That's my point. We know we haven't in several years really stopped anybody, and they haven't either. And usually when you think about Texas Tech, and it's Kingsbury. What's the guy's name? Is he still the head coach?
Yeah,
oh yeah, he don't even care if they even ever
Right.
have a defense.
Yeah.
You know, let's just give me 700 reps and let's score. You know. So I'm gonna say that this game will be a 55-45, and it could go. I'm pulling Ole Miss because I'm an Ole Miss fan, but I'm telling you, they're gonna be 100 points scored Saturday in Houston. It's gonna be a free for all, and barring injury, it'll probably be one of the funnest games on TV Saturday if you like offense. Now, if you old school and you like a 3-0 game and a blowed field goal at the end, then you're not going to like this game.
Over and under 67, you going over.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
11 o'clock game, right?
11 o'clock, so ain't nobody whining about that. Everybody had to play.
72 degrees, it's inside, so.
Yeah, it's going to be.
So you're going Ole Miss.
I'm going Ole Miss, and I'm just telling you, I think Coach Luke is underrated. I agree. I think that he's going to have a confidence. He's not looking over his shoulder this year with wondering is he got the job. He is the head coach. And I think prepared-wise, I mean, I don't think he'll call another timeout and give an opponent an extra chance to score like he did last year in the Egg Bowl. I lost half of my head of my hair when I pulled it out last year. And it was just a panic attack I think he had on the sideline.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see, as Ole Miss fans, a coach that has got a confidence that he couldn't have last year because he didn't know what he was doing.
He didn't know
never
his future.
done it, and he didn't know his future.
Yeah.
And now he's the man, and I think the team will play even more for him because they know that he's their coach.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be.
Well,
I think it'll be good.
Regardless of how you feel about the whole Matt Luke situation, you got to be for this guy. I mean, He's one of our own. A deep, rich history in Ole Miss football. I know everyone out there has an opinion. If you're an Ole Miss fan, you have an opinion.
Sure.
If you wanted Matt Luke to be the captain of this program moving forward, or if you felt like we should go out and get a bigger name coach or whatever, your thoughts were. But I think the Ole Miss family has come together and is going to support him 110%. I have, full confidence that he should go out there tomorrow knowing that he's got the Ole Miss faithful 100% behind him.
Well, and, with any coach, winning solves a lot of things. And if he comes out and wins against a quality opponent on the road, neutral site, but on the road, and he can beat a Texas Tech and get the year started off right, a lot of his doubters will come over quickly.
Yeah.
Losing brings doubt to it don't matter if it's a seasoned coach.
That's right.
Everybody wants to know what you done for me lately.
That's right.
And so I think
we need to give him time.
Yeah, we give him time. Just
win or lose Saturday, this guy has been behind the 8 ball for 2 years going into this second year. Well, counting last year, going into this year, the bowl ban, all the negative behind, what's happened in our program the last couple of years.
Right.
I think we got to give the guy a fair chance.
And I do too. And I think that Coach Luke is the thing that impresses me about the whole situation is that he is an Ole Miss guy. He loves Ole Miss. And during this time, I can't imagine or think of anybody would be better fit for the job after what we've been through in the last several years. And so I wish him the best. I'm glad that he stuck around. I'm glad that he stuck up for us.
Yeah.
And, how he conducted the program with all that going on, and when I mean the program, those kids wanted to play for him when they could have gave up. He held them together. So you tip your hat, but here's the bottom line. I would say it to him if he was sitting here. Good guys don't keep their jobs in the SEC. You got to win.
You got to win.
So get it on the field and let's win. And if we can win, he'll be the greatest coach hire since the last greatest coach hire. But if he loses, this fan base is looking to turn. They're looking for a reason.
Yeah.
I hope he gives us a reason to like him even more.
I want to say something about him that I witnessed with my own 2 eyes that I don't think you'll ever see on the media. And I don't want to say I was shocked. I want to say it was totally out of the ordinary, I would think. Was taking my boys to a baseball game at Ole Miss this past spring. And we parked in our usual parking spot. We walk up to the stadium. And as we're making our way down to the baseball stadium, they have the carts that they transport a lot of the parking from the distant parking out. And I look, and in the cart driving our fans into the game was Matt Luke. He was carting people. I mean, this is the kind of job you would think you would hire some 17, 18-year-old kid to do.
Right.
And he's out there carting, our fans back and forth from their parking spot.
Amazing.
And later, in the game, I kind of knew where he normally sat. I noticed in about the second inning he came in and sat down. But he stopped there for a moment, took a picture with my kids and both of my boys, and I thought, wow, that's a picture of someone who loves this school, you know, and is out here to show the fans, I'm here for you, I'm here to work and to do what it takes. I'm trying to win you over. Right. And so I'm for him. I hope he does well at Ole Miss, and certainly we want to see Ole Miss successful, so all 3 of us are voting Ole Miss this weekend.
Ole Miss, and if the game turns into a 10-7 game, I'll be surprised. I'm telling you, I think they'll have to replace a couple footballs. They'll be wore out.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Well, we got to talk about the banana in the room. I'm sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
You are the host.
Nah, Ken, I didn't say anything. But how proper is it that we sat here tonight and look who is supporting the state colors of banana yellow tonight.
Got it on.
Yellow
You'd
shirt.
think I was at Omaha.
Kerry is wearing banana yellow tonight.
Yeah.
And I deeply apologize that I just have been called out on the podcast
Cooking shirt.
for it.
Cooking
Yeah, I
shirt.
was cooking.
Cooking shirt. We'll get
Listen, some of my dearest friends are Mississippi State fans and
Yeah.
preachers, and I love them to death. And for anybody listening to this, don't turn your podcast off, because if you had your own podcast and you was a State fan, you'd say the same things. I got preacher friends of mine that we pick. If it wasn't for them being State fans, we probably wouldn't be as good of friends, because we have a
Yep.
good time and with it. But there's no doubt that they're going to win this weekend. I know that their quarterback's been suspended and they're playing their backup. I could go and suit up and beat whoever this is. I'm not really sure.
Who are they playing
It's
this
an
weekend?
abbreviated name.
Stephen F. Austin.
Stephen
Stephen
F.
F.
Austin,
Austin.
and I'm sure Mr. Austin was a great guy in his day. We at Ole Miss play what we call cupcakes. Texas A&M's playing a cupcake, and Mississippi State, and everybody, Alabama, Auburn. You have these games, so you do it on every level.
Yeah.
Every level. We did it in Pee Wee football. We scheduled some teams we knew that they were more we than we were P, and so we just played them, and so we could get better. And that's what's going to happen this weekend. They're going to, they'll have more players on the sideline than they will yards in the offensive category. Stephen F. Austin.
There's not a line on this game either, so
Yeah. So
It's
The
working
Dogs
out
will
better
win.
for their quarterback situation that they are playing a team like that. It's one of those
now with the
pretty much a
suspension,
guarantee win. They do have a big opponent next weekend. I think they go to Kansas State next
Right.
weekend, so that may be a little more of a test, but they'll have the quarterback experience may be a little bit of a factor there. It'll be his first game, but I guess
and we
are
wish
we all
him the
going
best.
are we all
Yeah.
going with State?
And listen,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
listen, we're Ole Miss fans, and we did win the Egg Bowl, and we're thankful for that. But we do wish him the best. We never wish any ill
No.
will toward a kid, and I know
No.
he broke his leg, and I hope he comes back 100%. I hope
Yeah.
he don't win a game all year, but I hope he comes back 100%. And being a true Ole Miss fan, as much as I am an Ole Miss fan, I'm never against the kids and wanting to see them get hurt, and But I do think that, with him being suspended, coming back against a more quality opponent on the road, that it could take their offense a while to get jump started. And State fans
could
are
be a
like
factor.
Ole Miss fans. We got short attention spans, and you let the the young man that's going to quarterback this week have a great week against a cupcake, and you let him go to Kansas State and struggle a few series, and right quick the pressure's going to be on, because it's fresh in their mind what he just did. But but he's the guy. A couple years ago they was trying to get him off the field,
Yeah.
and then he proved himself. 2 years ago, towards the end of that, he was as good as anybody in the country.
Oh, he was.
You couldn't stop him. We couldn't stop.
No doubt.
If they had not
he
stopped
killed
the
us.
game at the end of the fourth quarter, and I'm being funny about that, but I'm just saying. He'd have had 7,000 yards that night. We couldn't stop him. But I will say this, that regardless that he's a senior, this backup quarterback is talented, and if he I'm interested. I'd love to see a quarterback controversy at Mississippi State the second week in the year as an Ole Miss fan. But it's true, it could happen.
Oh yeah.
Well, look what happened at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's coming.
We were sitting there with a top 3 nationally rated quarterback. He goes out, Tamu comes in, and you got a battle there.
Right.
And we talk a lot in the SEC. There's just a very marginal difference between that number 1, number 2 guy in every position.
Every position.
So,
And at Alabama, there's the same.
and that
on
guy almost-
all four.
You got to give that kid credit last year for coming in the game and almost led them back to a victory in the Egg Bowl.
Sure.
We had the game under control at times, but he made it interesting at the end. You got to give it to him.
Well, I don't think it. Back to the pick. I don't think it'll be even close this week. I believe Mississippi State. I think 6:30 kickoff at Starkville.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a night game.
ESPNU.
Yep, they'll be be ringing their illegal cowbells and be loud,
ringing true.
And Stephen F. Austin will be so nervous that they may score a touchdown for State themselves. They may run the wrong way. So, anyway, Hail State, they'll win that game.
Big weekend for State, more than likely. Alabama and Louisville. Ken?
Alabama all the way. They will blow Louisville off the field. 7 o'clock, ABC, 62.5 over under.
Where at? Where are they playing? Is it neutral?
It'll be at Alabama. So, Alabama all the way, 3 touchdowns, maybe 4.
Yeah.
Don't forget there's no Heisman Trophy winner at Louisville now.
Well, and here's the thing, too. We're
Yeah.
more interested
True.
in who they're playing is who they're going to play at quarterback. You know, who's Alabama going to start? He come out, I believe, a few days ago, said we got co-starters. Well, how's that going to work?
Yeah.
You know, that's 12 men on the field. I mean, somebody's got to go out there. You ain't running both. You ain't running both quarterbacks out there. So I'm interested
We'll
in
take the backup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
everybody in the
Either
country.
one of them can be a running back, starting
Yeah.
running back right now. But, you know, you got your, what's their 2 quarterbacks? How you say the long, for Alabama, what's their names?
Well, they
You
just
got-
calls him 2.
Yeah, 2.
Now, I've heard Saban can't say it, so I don't guess we have to say it. Hurt and 2.
Jalen Hurts is 26-2 as a starter, and he has 1 bad half. He's won national championship, and he got replaced, and the guy happens to win the game, and all of a sudden Jalen Hurts can't play.
Right.
I'll
never understand that.
Yeah.
He single-handedly beat several top teams
Yep.
by himself.
Oh, I agree.
And all of a sudden he can't play. He can play for us.
Yeah. And everybody listening would take him
Yeah.
on their team.
Sure.
Well, and here's the thing.
I was impressed in how he handled that situation.
Oh,
though.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
If you watched him in that game, he's not a selfish
He
player.
was the first one running out on the
He
field.
was. And you can tell it's sincere. You can tell when a quarterback is sincere. If a guy's out there taking his spot, I thought he handled it well. I think he deserves, the opportunity to be the lead man.
Yes. Well,
Lead
and
captain
in
that
the first half of that game, he missed a wide open touchdown. Had that, and he overthrew it 2 or 3 feet. The guy was wide open. Had they scored then and not been down like that, it had this story probably never would have been written. And my point of Jalen Hurts is that I thought it was one of the dumbest moves when it happened. And then when the kid throws the touchdown after getting sacked, and they've got this second or third down and whatever it is, and he throws that dart for a touchdown, and you listen to what Saban said about it, he said, I just felt like, he never said he was coming out not to put her, he said he was going to come out and try to get a jump start, and he felt like that they wasn't respecting Hurts passing, and he wanted to open it up to get their game plan back going. And then after he got the guy in there, he couldn't pull him at that moment because he moved them. They scored. He was moving down the field. And so it's just one of them deals, We switch linemen all the time. We switch running backs all the time. We switch receivers in and out nearly every play, especially teams that still bring their play in from the receiver side. We switch DBs out. We switch linebackers. We're looking at teams that's going to win a national championship that's 10 deep on the defensive line. But you let somebody switch a quarterback out, and it changes everybody's opinion. But at Alabama, it's obvious they've got 2 quality guys that can lead them. So who will start? It won't matter against Louisville. Saban could start against Louisville. But that's going to be the story within the story.
It will be.
Alabama by 30.
Agree.
Well, I'm not going to predict the score, but I'm going with Alabama. I think that's a safe bet for this weekend. We've got Auburn playing Washington.
That's going to be
I'm
the
going
good
with
one.
Auburn.
That's going to be the good one.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great game, but
They're predicting.
I'm
The
going-
SEC
I'm going
network
with the
says
SEC.
the SEC network said this was the best game on paper for the weekend. Even Alabama, Louisville. That's a good matchup.
Yeah.
2 quality programs, but Auburn and Washington is being tagged as the game of the week nationally, not just SEC, but this is the national game of the week.
Yeah.
And Washington's got a quarterback that's supposed to be pretty legit, but the truth of the matter is one I heard somebody say this week that he may be good, but he ain't seen a defense like Auburn's.
Yeah.
I'm going to Auburn.
They
By a
claim
touchdown.
they claim their line's better this year than they were last year, and they were one of the best. So we'll see. I say it'll be a probably closer score, but I say Auburn all the way.
You had to think about it, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I'd love to see Auburn get beat. To all my Auburn fans, I love you, but you kind of get tired of Auburn fans and Alabama fans and Mississippi State fans and all that stuff, and you just become an Ole Miss fan, and then there's weeks where you want the SEC to win, and so I'm speaking to somebody out there. There's people out there, it's just SEC. They're like, I don't care if SEC's playing, and I'll pull for. And I hear a Mississippi State fan say, "I'll pull for Ole Miss if we ain't playing it." And I'll tell them, "Please don't pull for us. We don't want a Mississippi State fan pulling for us." So there's just times that you know as a fan of your own school. But I do love the SEC.
I do too.
I'm more picking than I am anything.
Yeah.
I don't think Washington's going to beat Auburn. And to all I've got a few Auburn buddies that be listening to this, and I still love you. I hope you win. I hope you win. I was kidding.
LSU. Who does LSU play this weekend? I didn't have that in my notes.
LSU. Boy, let's look that up. LSU. Wonder who they play. I can tell you one thing. LSU is going to be I'm assuming that they would be at home. I want to think they play on. Did they play that Sunday night game this year? Isn't that LSU plays? They play Miami. I want to think that LSU plays. I may be wrong, Kevin. I apologize. We should have looked that up.
Yeah, we should have looked that
I
up.
think LSU has Miami.
Sunday at 6:30, they're playing Miami.
That's what I thought.
And Miami is ranked number 8 in the country.
There you go. All right, I heard that.
All right. I'm going Miami. I'm a Mark Richt fan.
I do like Mark
I'm
Richt.
a Mark Richt
and I
fan.
hated he left the SEC.
I hated he left the SEC, and I have never liked Miami. I do not like the U, but I'm conflicted because I want to see Mark Richt be successful after Georgia.
Yeah,
I think
he was close at times at Georgia, but
I just think he got a little bit of a. I understand change is necessary down the. Sometimes that probably was a hard move for Georgia,
and
knowing the history and the
out.
time, and it's worked out for them obviously,
no doubt.
And I'm not a big fan of LSU, but regardless of that, normally I'm an SEC guy, but I mean Miami's got a team this year.
And, I'm
going to go with Miami on that game.
Well, shout out to Brother Brian Bridges, who is a big Georgia fan and a big Mark Richt fan, and they hated to see him go. And Mark Richt's made it no bones about his Christianity and his love for the Lord.
Yeah.
And so to see him leave your team, I know Brother Brian and them were, they liked him because he's a winner, and then they liked him because he's a Christian.
Yeah.
But it's very obvious that Georgia has took it to a new level since he's been gone.
Oh, yeah.
And you can say it's with some of his players and maybe some of his past, but he's went to Miami and changed the attitude, and they have stepped it up last year. And, of course, and you're right, I have no ties with Miami and watch him, but because of Mark Richt, I would tune in last year just to see how he was doing.
Right.
So that'd be tough. And one thing LSU's got this year that they haven't had in the past, and they've got a throwing quarterback. They got a 6'3", 220-pound kid that they've named as starter that can sling it.
Yeah.
And LSU's had some great receivers who are still contributing in the NFL. They've had great running backs. We all know that. And everybody's always sit back. Brother Jeff Flanagan, dear friend of mine from Sibley, Louisiana, big LSU fan. There's times where he wishes Ole Miss would have kept Orgeron, and then there's times he's glad they got him. And it's just going on if they're winning or losing. But he's always said, give me, he said this. He would call me. Of course, we'd be an Ole Miss fan. And he has always said, if we'd have had Eli Manning, we'd have won. If we had Chad Kelly, if we had Shea Patterson, he would say those things, talking about, not because they're more athletic, but they just hadn't really have a consistent passer, and they're supposed to have that this year.
Oh, yeah.
If LSU puts that offense with their normal defense, they'll be hard to handle.
Oh,
And they're
yeah.
playing at LSU, so I'm going LSU and Coach O.
I'm going LSU. It's at Tiger Stadium.
It is.
Yeah, it's
6:30 Sunday night.
Oh yeah, it's just tough to win there at night.
It is tough.
You know, you got a Pontotoc boy,
Oh yeah.
Cole
Yeah.
Smith. He
forgot
could
about
get
that.
some playing time this
Yeah.
first week.
How about that?
So, true freshman there. He's rated #1 center in the country.
Wow.
He committed quick, 4-star guy. So we'll see what happens. I think he's listed backup, but you never know. You one play away. So.
That's right.
That's right.
So yeah,
That's right.
LSU at night. They'll be wearing the white.
Well, and here's the thing: they got an extra night too. They
right.
crazy on Saturday.
Yeah.
They'll be crazier on Sunday.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
fans
that's
will be.
true.
they'll start
That's true.
Friday though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
All
be-
night long
yeah.
Friday. And I guess to wrap up all of our bordering states, we're not going to cover the whole SEC, but we got to bring Arkansas into the mix, and probably
Razorbacks.
not much to talk about there. They're playing EIU, Eastern
Eastern Illinois.
Illinois. I think
This might as well go ahead
Arkansas,
and say Arkansas
yeah.
all the way. I'm sure
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
three of us. So
And-
there's no line. So
and this new coach, he come from SMU. Chad, his last name slips me.
it slipped me too.
But-
I'm trying to say Kelly, but
Something like that. But he, I think that was Chip.
Yeah,
Chip
yeah.
Kelly. But anyway, this new coach has come in, and they no doubt he took SMU to some heights, that they hadn't been in a while. So with the talent that Arkansas normally has, and he'll come in, put his program in, and they'll probably really
Chad Morris
Chad
Morris,
Morris.
yeah.
Yeah, I knew.
Yeah.
So Arkansas.
from Lake Travis High School in Texas.
Well, he will. Boy, if he's from Texas, that'll really open up some things in recruiting. won't it?
Yeah, it probably will. Well, we spent a good bit of time talking about college football, but that'll probably happen from week to week. That's
Yes.
a big part of who we are in the South. We love college football. Football is king. So, looking forward to chatting each week about the upcoming games. And I guess the other big thing about this weekend is opening weekend for hunting overall, specifically dove hunting. And you guys going to do any dove hunting this weekend?
Yes.
oh yeah, you got 2 fields. We're gonna
Yeah.
try to shoot some doves. Ole Miss plays early, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we'll just coordinate.
Get out there early.
It's
And
going how
hit
early we
around.
leave. The doves start flying. Stop flying early. I guess we'll leave early, but we may cut it close getting back in time. But we're not 10 minutes from the
Yeah.
house, so we hope we've had some birds there. So hopefully they'll stay. Looks like the weather's going to stay constant for us. In the past we've had some cold spells, and that was our excuse. Well, it's 10 degrees cooler than it's not 90, it's 80 at 8
Yeah.
o'clock, and that drove them out. But it looks
That's
like
true.
it's going to be like it's been for the last several weeks. So it's going to be good and warm about 9, 10 o'clock. You're looking what's the highs 92, 93 for us here in North Mississippi. So high humidity. So
Did you guys do any field preparation for this weekend?
we did wheat, and we're gonna go ahead and use it for a plot, deer plot too. So we're gonna let that wheat take hold and go. But yeah, we've done it the right way, and I know Kerry has too. And it's not worth doing it the wrong way
Yeah.
these days. So especially when you have kids and family members, we want to make sure we do
Yeah.
it the right way. So if anybody has any questions, you can get on the Mississippi Wildlife Fisheries website, and it lays it out for you. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of questions. I've heard you can sow wheat on a grass field
Yeah.
and hunt it. Well, you can't. I read that this week. I was making sure of that. You can drill it. The wheat has to be drilled in a grass field. That's not a natural, in the vegetation wise,
Yeah.
it's not a natural
Right.
way to plant your wheat. So it's illegal to hunt over. So there's a lot of questions I wanted answered, and the best way to do is get on that website, and it lays it out. It's got like top 10 questions that you can.
And you can get that
read.
app and put that app on your
That's
phone.
On
right.
your phone,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So, hey, the best way is to call your local game warden and
Just
get them
ask
out there
them.
and let them cruise your field. Make sure the wheat's spaced out. I think I read 90 pounds per acre is the what it calls for. You're not supposed to put any more than that on your field
Yeah.
per acre. So, anyway, you take a look at that if anybody has any questions. But hey, it's not but it's this Saturday, so by the time this podcast comes out, they won't
Yeah.
have much time.
Right.
But,
I had one of the guys that listened to the podcast last week. He said, if you guys throughout the years are talking, don't take for granted that there are a lot of new hunters out there, people that are new to the sport that really do not, we can talk on a lot of technical elements about hunting, be it duck hunting or, and I'm fairly new to duck hunting. I've been duck hunting now for about 3 years, and I've just fallen in love with it. So I love listening to guys who have been experienced, and I feel like sometimes I ask dumb questions. I may say, well, what, and I realize there are no dumb questions.
Yeah.
And so I had a guy ask me this past week, he said, don't take for granted that we have listeners out there that maybe don't know as much. So talk about some of the basics and the things that you maybe just don't think anything about. And so one of the things the guy asked me, he said, what kind of choke would you put in your gun for dove hunting? And I guess I kind of, I have my gun set up, but, probably, you want to open the choke. Mm-hmm. So what kind of choke do you guys use? I use improved cylinder.
right.
What do you guys use?
Modified improved
Modified
cylinder.
improved cylinder. Yeah, that's what I.
Yeah, it seems I'm not a good. People claim that I can shoot a deer running pretty good at 300 yards, but it's hard for me to hit a dove. I'm not a good dove hunter. I just it's hard for me to hit them, and I do, but it's tough for me. So I've never been one of those that wanted to change the choke in and out and try.
Yeah.
I got one in there. I'm using it.
Yeah.
I'm not using a full turkey choke or anything, but
Something with a wider pattern.
yeah, wider pattern. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I grew up with a 12 gauge pump. That's what my daddy gave me when I was 16. And,
You still hunt with a pump?
well, I still have that gun. Of course, y'all know my history. I very seldom ever have a gun in my hand. I got a camera in my hand. I'm always filming. I filmed the dove hunts. And last year, our dove hunt was the best that I could ever remember. Multiple hunters, and it never got quiet. I ended up running the camera. I had to decide who I was going to film because early on I kept jumping around because it was just doves everywhere. It was just one of them years.
Yeah.
And we had kids, we had ladies, we had men, we had a mixture of seasoned hunters, first-time hunters, dove hunters. But the thing that we had that really helped us is we had Mark Newell behind getting all the plots and stuff together, and Mark does a great job. And so we had a great time, man, dove hunting. And if something, that's one of the first memories that I have where my daddy turned me loose by myself. Is in a dove field.
Yeah.
And the trajectory, how to, you can't shoot certain depths, or you'll shoot the guy across the field, or you could put just the safety of dove hunting in more narrow fields. You're talking about first time hunters. That's something you can begin to teach safety. You got to teach safety during a dove hunt. Or
Right.
somebody will get their hat shut off.
Yeah.
And so, with that being said, that's how I grew up. Dove hunting. I've got a pump shotgun. I still have that gun my daddy gave me, and but I do run a camera and try to capture. And last year we were able to capture some great video of some kids and ladies, and So we're looking forward this year. We don't have as many doves right now as we saw last year. We're hoping that in the next few, because if you know anything about dove hunting, you can pull up one day and have thousands of doves, and the next day think, man, we finna kill some doves, and get out there and nothing fly. So anyway, but dove hunt. Listen, man, this is the time that gets you excited, get you back ready. Bow season's around the corner. Then gun season. So
I think opening day of dove season is so much more than dove hunting. It is that gateway to the season we all love. We know that when dove season is here, that it's time. Yeah, it's on. It's time to get ready.
Would you say that it's the appetizer to the meal?
I would say so.
Yeah. And then no doubt deer season could be the meal. Turkey season's the dessert.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best tasting thing.
That's
the best time of the year, man.
So we were talking a little bit about field preparation, and we've got several other podcasts lined up. You mentioned Mark Newell. We're going to get him in, and he's associated with Tecumate Seed Company. But we talked to Ken, and I want to mention this. He's going to say a few things about. We want to talk a little bit about food plot management, because to me, I love this time of the year. It's the time I get to get out and start breaking the dirt. And I know now Ken starts way earlier than I'm able to. He has a lot larger property and the capability. He's already sent us some pictures, and in fact, we're going to put those on our website. As we talk a little bit about that, we want you to go out to our website at southernlegendoutdoors.com because he's got some great pictures that he's already sent that will be a good reference to what he's about to speak about. And Ken, just tell us a little bit about how you have managed your property and kind of prepared for. We talk about hunting as farming in many ways, and I think those two things have really, especially in the last 10 years, have really changed our sport, because we truly do farm for our wildlife around here now. Many guys do that. So tell us a little bit, Ken, about what you're doing, what you've done at your place, and he's just got an outstanding farm, and we've seen some really good results from the work you've done there. Tell us a little bit about what you've got going on.
Well, first of all, I heard y'all say last week or 2 weeks ago on the podcast that, here in Pontotoc, in our area, Ripley, Tippah County, here, it's real life hunting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the Pike County, Illinois, or going to Montana and seeing 500 deer in a day and you pick out your deer. It's tough hunting, and you have to stay ahead of the game. That's what we try to do at our place. We've got our land is Triple B, and we have Buddy's land, Mitch and Buddy Montgomery's that join us, and we manage that. It's just over 800 acres, and it's taken us a while to build that. Like Kerry, like you had talked about, it's taken you a while to build that up, and your land, and it has us too, but. It's of course, private land. It's family. It's not a club. Man, as soon as turkey season's over, we hadn't stopped.
Yeah.
I mean, the last 2 years we've had dozers and trackos, and we're making new plots, and we're figuring out where the deer are traveling, and you have to be careful where you establish your food plots on your property. If you got like we have a 600-yard long crop field of corn and beans, and you're out there hunting, and the deer are not coming until dark. Mm-hmm. You got a problem, and you can't see them before dark. They're not coming. They're smart. We've had it for 16 years now, and so this past summer, actually the last several weeks, we've established a parallel plot that we feel the deer is going to be crossing this plot, crossing the canal, and getting to our crop fields about an hour before dark. So we got dozers and my track hoe, and we've established that, and we established another plot in a road, so to speak, and on the Montgomery property, they've established 2 more duck holes, had levees. Had a construction earth moving company come in establish levees and put risers and culverts, and we're going to hold water. We got millet planted. So since turkey season, we planted corns and beans. We've got 10 plus acres of corn and beans standing, different spots. We've got 5 supplement millet plots for the turkeys. We plant them now for springtime. That's just what we do. That's something we really believe in. We've opened some spots up and planted that. We've created roads and we planted millets. We use them as supplement plots.
Yeah,
turkey. It's seed. I mean, it's you look on side of roads. A lot of these road companies, when they build a road, they'll plant millet on the road. It's good for erosion control. Plus, it helps your birds. So that's what we've done on that.
It's funny as you're saying all this. I think a lot of times people, they may turn on the sportsman channel, or the outdoor channel, and they hear a guy say, "We harvested this buck," and this is what he means by harvesting, because he's put hours and hours and hours of time, and we all do it. Everyone here at this table does it. So when we do kill that buck,
work for it.
It's a harvest. Hey, it is a harvest.
It's hard hunting. It's real hunting here. And that's what it's 4 days a week, 3 to 4 days a week plus the weekend since turkey season for us, trying to establish these new plots and like corn and beans, we got a bunch of those plots done. Something has been real key for us at our place is spraying our food plots Roundup all summer long. Really? So when we get out there to cut it up, we got all of our food plots all cut up, ready to go. They're not planted, but we've got them cut up. But when you get out there and you run that disc, it's nothing. So when you plant that food plot, you don't have weeds established. Even though you cut it up, you're going to have some of that that's cut up and regerminated, and it's going to start growing. It's going to take some of the nutrients out of your food plot. So it's very key for us to spray all of our food plots and burn them. I'm talking about burn them all during the summer. So it makes it so much easier. You don't have the grass bogging up your disc and different things. And bush hog, you don't have to bush hog. Yeah. It saves that fuel and wear and tear on your bush hog and tractor. So we're a believer in that. It's been really good for us.
Let me ask you a question. Okay. What about a guy who's sitting here maybe listening to our podcast and he's recently acquired a small property and maybe he doesn't have the equipment. Maybe he's got a 4-wheeler, he's got, he's got a little seeder, What would you suggest to, a small operation like that? He doesn't have a lot of equipment. Maybe to get started, he wants to start managing his property. What kind of direction would you advise someone like that to go in?
Well, first of all, I'd get an aerial photo and I'd look at it. I'd find out where's my bedding, do I have water, do I have natural stuff, is there cropland next to me, what's the closest crop? That's what you need to look. Even though you don't have a crop right next to you, but looking at that aerial photo, you can get on GeoPortal map, Pontotoc County, and you can look at, you can see what's the closest crop land next to you. Right. And I promise you, there's going to be deer between you and that. Yeah. So, but anyway, aerial photo, you find you a place in there where, you're not disturbing too much of the bedding, but make you a little place. 40 acres, one plot. Yeah. 80 acres, really, maybe 2, but one good one on the 80.
And you may not be able to hold that buck, but you may can get him to stop on his way through. Right. And that's really what you're trying to do.
Yeah. And that's
and there are a lot of guys out there that's maybe all they have access to. And that can make a difference.
Yeah, and it really, we started out with a small, 300 and something acres, and it won't take long for a deer to run through 300 acres. Especially you have a dog run through there or something. You can't hardly get around it. So anyway, that's very crucial. And another thing that we've done is establish white clover yearly plots on ours. Just keep them sprayed all during the summer. You have to be careful during a drought and the heat of spraying. We recommend spraying. There's post for your grasses, and for your broadleaf there's Buterac, what we spray, and clethodim is you can buy it online as a generic post. Post is $250 for 2.5 gallons. This clethodim, you can get a gallon of it for just over $100. So it's a little cheaper. But maintaining your white clover plots, they eat them all year round.
Yeah.
Turkeys, as we know, it's not just the clover, it's the bugs that the clover cluster holds, and that they peel back a lot of that and they eat the bugs out of there. So we want them good and healthy, but watch the spraying too much into some, but you want to maintain them. Bush hog them and maintain them is a real big thing, and that's a lot of protein out of that.
Yeah.
We've seen our bucks get better since we've started doing the white clover. A lot of people don't. It's time consuming. It's tough.
Yeah.
So the clover and open up plots like Kerry, you mentioned to me today. I need this done because I'm wanting to open up this, and man, we all know folks that's got some equipment and to get some stuff done, but it's very key before you do that. Get that dozer, you rent that dozer, you hire somebody out, get you an aerial photo and see which way they're crossing.
Mm-hmm.
Be parallel with your plot, getting to where you think the deer are going or coming from. Don't be perpendicular to it.
Right.
Be parallel to it. It makes a huge difference. And that's where I made a mistake on my property with some of my plots. Now I've cut my plots in half, okay? And I've reestablished some and changed them up where I would catch more deer crossing coming to the. And it's just one of those things. You get your land and I'm doing one here, here, and not really have a plan for it.
Yeah,
and
planning is key, and
yeah.
even in your stand management, location of where you're putting your stands, knowing wind direction.
Oh yeah.
And thinking about that even when you're building your food plot.
Oh yeah.
To know that you're going to be able to, locate your stand where you want it, where you typically expect the wind to be blowing.
One thing
in your favor.
That's right, and we make mistakes, and I'm the world's worst. We all have that favorite stand.
Yeah.
As a house, and it don't matter which way the wind's blowing. Well, that's not the problem. It's getting to and from, going to your stand, blowing down. You go to Illinois. If you own a paid hunter, you got a buddy out there has some land, and you got your farm out there, and they situating people. If that wind's wrong, and that's the best stand right over there, they're not taking you to it.
That's right.
Getting to the stand, you blow more deer than in the stand.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So we've had a problem on our place of we all gone electric carts. We've gone away from the hunt during the hunt season. A lot of folks have done that. Kerry, I know both of y'all have the electric carts, but still, it's your scent going down the road, and it's if your scent's going north and that's the way you're going to hunt. That's what you did.
Yeah.
It's not good. I mean, and that's been our problem. Look, we killed 2 deer on 800 acres last year. We said we weren't going to kill any does, and the hunting club next to us voted not to kill does, and that was 1,500 acres, maybe 2,000 acres. And we had 7 or 8 really good ones we wanted to shoot, and we killed 2 that wasn't in that 7 and 8 group, and we saw every single buck that we had on our hit list, so to speak, during turkey season after the deer season was over. Every one of them made it, and I've got 3 or 4 of them on camera already this year. So they made it through. They're staying. We're keeping our deer. We did what we wanted to do.
Right.
So they're staying there, and we're going to see how that pays off.
Yeah.
We had another place we could go kill some does and have some meat, So, but we sacrificed last year, and we did that. And another thing we've done too is on our property is fishing. We got a 50-acre watershed lake. It's really good fishing. We're really fortunate for that. Duck hunting's really good on our lake in the back end. That's where the Montgomerys have a lot of that in the back end that they've established. We hunt in the backwaters where you get your natural grasses in the backwaters of our lake, and this is just in Pontotoc County.
Sure.
And they've established those couple of holes back there where we can plant food, millet and corn, whatever we want to plant. This year we'll sacrifice a little bit, just finished up on some of that. So they're really going to have a really good property back there in the back of the lake. Turkeys, we kill our quota. We try to every year anyway. And we kind of leave them there and go somewhere else after we killed a few. So
it takes time, though, too.
It does.
You can't.
This
kind of thing doesn't happen overnight.
16 years,
It takes planning and a lot of hard work.
But I'm telling you, ever since we left a bird gobbling the last day, and that's where I put one of my plots, supplemental turkey plots with millet. I cut a road to down to one of the new spots and planted that millet. And we hired a dozer, and he came in and cleaned it all up. We planted it just day before yesterday, and but that's right there where we left that turkey at the end of last season, Kerry.
Yeah.
And ever since we left that turkey, we stopped right then and we started working toward this season. The hunt, we still had a camouflage on. So anyway, all in all, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
Just real life hunting in this area,
Yeah.
and it's not easy.
Well, and let me say this: when you listen, this is something 20 years ago I didn't realize because I didn't have my own land, I didn't have my own equipment. I was fortunate to hunt on your property, hunt on other people's property, and the thing that I realize now, after all these years of you doing it yourself, why you feel like you do about your property, why I feel like I do about my property. You have your own property that you manage, that you fix up and all that.
Yeah.
And that's why people are so upset, and that's why it's so hard when we look up and somebody that hasn't done anything is trespassing our properties.
Yeah.
And, I know that's a topic for another day, but my point to our younger generation that's coming up is there's nothing that's any more devastating to a property owner who works hard, like Ken, like you, like myself, for somebody just to come in. You've put all this money, you've put all this time, you've done all this stuff, and you look up and somebody has just walked over you. Right. They don't, and so I would suggest to everybody, get your own place, do your own work, and you'll be more respectful to the people around you when you realize what goes on around you to get ready just to kill one buck or just to go back to get that one turkey. Yeah. All you've done just to find that turkey will be satisfaction to you. How sad would it be to see somebody that had nothing to do with it? And so that's a message that I would send out during these times of food plots and all that. This is real work. No, we're not farmers by trade. That's not how we make our living. But we're farmers by action. We know what it is. Of course, I grew up on a farm, grew up farming. But my point is, people that take you hunting and let you hunt on their property, be thankful for them because there's a whole lot went in for you just to enjoy that morning or that afternoon.
That's right.
That's right.
And we'll try to teach that to a lot of these youth as we do youth hunts throughout the year, and make them understand that while we're sitting in those stands with them, help them to understand the work that goes on behind the scenes. Yes. Well, guys, it's been fun tonight.
Hey, before we go,
yeah,
I got a guest picker.
We do have a guest that has joined us.
I brought in
the
famous Mississippi State Bulldog fan himself, Richard Stafford Jr. And let me tell you what we did. We picked the SEC West winners. I'm going to tell you who's playing, and I want you to be loud now where our listeners can hear you, and you tell me who's going to win the game, okay? Alabama versus Louisville.
Alabama.
Gotcha.
All right.
Auburn versus Washington.
Auburn.
All
okay.
right. LSU at home versus number 8 Miami.
Oh.
Whoa. Yeah. That's a matchup now. Coach Orgeron against Mark Wright. Rick.
I'm gonna tell you, this is just me.
Who you think?
Miami.
Yeah.
Miami to you. Oh, he's coming in. LSU's
I
going
got a
down.
Miami with him.
All right. Well, Coach Orgeron will be speaking Spanish.
They were both LSU. I was Miami, so you and I are together.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Here's another one. This is a game that probably you won't even be able to think about who could win. Texas A&M is playing Northwestern Academy of Latter-day Saints or something. Yeah, who you think's going to win that?
Well, I left the room and they were already
They were already winning. Who's going to win? Who's going to win? Texas A&M.
Texas
All right.
A&M.
All right, here we go. Arkansas is playing a team with 3 initials, and that's all you need to know. Who do you think's going to win?
Arkansas.
All right. Ole Miss is playing Texas Tech neutral site at Houston, and I know you're a big state fan. All right. Texas Tech or Ole Miss?
Well, I want to say Texas Tech, but something in the back of my mind is saying Ole Miss is gonna be home to win.
Ole Miss.
Okay,
All
Ole
right.
Miss. He's
All
going
right,
Ole
here's
Miss.
the last
Wow.
one. Here's the last one. You ready? Stephen F. Austin is coming to Starkville, and tell him who's going to be there.
I'm in the allocation.
You and Tyler Cason's going to the game, so they're coming to play your Bulldogs. Who's going to win?
Oh, no, the Bulldogs.
The Bulldogs. All right, give it 5. All right. So Richard really only went against
Yep.
one SEC team, LSU. He picked Miami. Me and Ken, we run the table with the SEC West, and Kevin picked Miami. So we'll know next
Yep.
week who we're gonna keep up with it. and
Someone
see.
will be ahead.
Yeah, somebody's gonna be
Someone will
ahead.
be
Oh,
ahead.
yeah, you
Oh, yeah.
already know it.
Great week, guys.
Good job.
Listen,
All right,
I'll,
guys.
I'll promise this: I'll have the food, and Kevin will have the equipment. And
I
Ken,
have the stomach.
you have
as
the
Richard says.
you have the knowledge, and we'll do this again.
Yeah.
God bless everybody. We appreciate you tuning
Yeah,
in.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And thank Richard again for joining us here at the end. So we're going to actually do a podcast where we're going to let Richard say a little bit about his story. And
Yes.
our listeners do not want to miss that.
His dad.
He is a
and all
special
that.
person. He's
Yeah.
a special guy. Even though he's a state fan.
Even though he's state fan.
So, anyway.
He's a believer. If you don't believe it, that's all he says. All that stuff that Mississippi State fans say we believe. But his beliefs in the Lord Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
All right.
All right. Good deal, guys. Thank you. Look
welcome.
forward to next week.
Thank you.
See you.
Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. It's your time now. Be a legend.